Hey friends, I'm Tyler. Today we're going to be talking about our Aeropress recipe that we use at our flagship location in downtown Lancaster. It's a really quick, efficient, pretty simple recipe, one that we've kind of fallen in love with, and one of the main reasons we've fallen in love with it is the cup quality and the consistency that we were able to achieve on a daily basis. Whether it's a new barista just getting into things or they've been here for a few years, we're able to get really, really consistent results. So let's get started. The coffee that I'll be using today is just about 4 weeks off roast, which is kind of one of my sweet spots. Anywhere from 2.5 weeks to about 5 weeks is kind of in that zone of really, really sweet, balanced, enjoyable cups. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse the paper filter in the Aeropress, just to make sure there's no paper qualities that get into the cup itself. Paper is not something that you should be tasting in your coffee. So make sure we rinse that filter, no paper taste at all. It's also going to preheat both the brewing chamber and the vessel that I'm pressing into. When you are actually plunging and pressing down into a vessel, make sure that it is, sturdy, stable, able to take some pressure. This is a pretty hefty glass beaker that we use. You can also use, your favorite mug, but do be careful with glass that you're pressing into, as accidents do happen. Stir stick is provided in the Aeropress box, as well as the plunger itself. Filter's already in there, ready to go. We are using a 10-to-1 ratio here at the shop. This is a little bit different than the recipe that we have listed online. 14 grams are listed as the dose of coffee online, whereas here we're using 20 grams to 200 grams of water, so a 10-to-1 ratio, a little heftier, more strength. At which point, at the very end, we will then dilute with 100 grams of water at the very end. So I'll add my 20 grams of coffee. I'm going to add 200 grams of water. As I pour, I'm going to start pouring into the side of the Aeropress, while simultaneously spinning the Aeropress around just to ensure that all of the grounds are fully saturated in there. This is an immersion brew method, so the water and coffee are in there, submerged, brewing together. After I add my 200 grams of water, I will then stir 3 times, put the plunger on the top just ever so slightly to create a vacuum in there so the coffee doesn't continue to drip down, and it also retains the heat that is in there. My kettle is at 210 degrees, just off boil. Let's go ahead and add our water. Start the timer. "200 grams of water. I'll stir 3 times. Make sure all the clumps get broken up, everything gets saturated. Put the plunger in. As you can see, some coffee will drip into the vessel itself. However, again, we're able to achieve extreme consistency here with this recipe. So I'm not at all concerned with a little bit of that coffee going through ahead of time. As soon as I started pouring, I started my timer. Like I mentioned, this is a really quick recipe. Once this hits 1 minute, I'll take the plunger off, stir 3 more times, just to keep things consistent, all the variables the same. And then I will put the plunger back on, and about 15-20 seconds of a nice, easy plunge down, it will be all set. So the timer is at 1 minute. Stir 3 more times. Put the plunger on. Just nice and easy all the way down. A lot of recipes will mention stopping when you hear a hissing sound. We just go all the way down again. We want to make sure that every variable remains the same. All we're doing is changing coffee, maybe changing the grind setting depending on what we find to be best. We're looking for balanced, clarity of flavor, sweet cups. All right, all the way down. That off to the side. At this point, I will be adding my additional 100 grams of water. Cheers.